take a look at this. Now, in the past, we could go ahead and quickly look at this. We have the Hanged Man. So the Hanged Man is coming up, pretty much telling us that there was some time in the past where there was some stagnancy, a bit of waiting necessary, but not necessarily waiting per se, but more of changing positions, adjusting ourselves to kind of see something from a different perspective. So yeah, I feel like in the past there was something that we needed to see, something that needed to be understood, not externally about our not externally about what's going on in the environment, but what we needed to understand for ourselves to help us to move forward. I feel like honestly, this is something that I think it was affected by the environment in a lot of ways, but I do get the sense that this was something internal for you, Libra, in the past. Now, in the present, you have strength. So strength talks about going through a difficult situation, pushing through difficult, not necessarily difficulties, overcoming challenges, overcoming obstacles, and by utilizing your inner strength. So I feel like at this time, I feel like there is a situation that you're going through that is requiring you to be brave. That's requiring you guys to really, delve in deep and to really utilize your self-control in the way that can get you through a situation that's not the easiest, if that makes sense. Okay, so yeah, I get this feeling that you guys may be going through something. Maybe this new perspective is what's putting you guys in a position where you're having to really go through a situation of discomfort. And usually when the strength comes up, it's not always struggles, not always like, perseverance. It's usually, sometimes it is but sometimes it doesn't have to be, like extremely difficult. But I get this feeling that there is a little bit of a challenge. I feel like you guys are somewhat stepping up in some sort of responsibilities. Just by how everything's looking right now. Now, in the future, you have the Page of Wands. So I do get the sense that you guys will be receiving some sort of news, some sort of information. And if this is like not some sort of news or information, I really feel like this could potentially also be like a spark of something inspiring you, some sort of spark of new energy, spark of new adventure. It's not a huge beginning, but it's something that can definitely get you started and really start something off in a really awesome way, to be absolutely honest with you. Now, with the Hangman in the past, because considering that we have to go, we're going back here, we're looking into this a little bit deeper, you have, this period of time where you're looking at a different perspective. It felt like, yes, internally, there was a lot of readjustment, a lot of course correction, a lot of correcting of the self, of people around you, creating boundaries. When I see justice, I feel like there is not, obviously this is internal, so there can't be a legal situation internally. I mean, for some of you it could be, but I get this feeling that there was a bit of realignment, because when justice comes up, it's about balancing the karmic scales and leading on with the truth, so I really, this could also be weighing the pros and cons to me. And I feel like for some of you guys, maybe you guys are weighing the pros and cons of a situation. And that's probably why you had a period of stagnancy, because you needed to figure out what it is that you wanted potentially, or weighing out some pros and cons of a situation internally. How do you feel in regards to it, the past? I feel like that's probably what you were weighing, if that makes sense. I'm trying to sort things out emotionally, because in the environment you have the Three of Cups. So I think perhaps this was in regards to community. This is in regards to people that are surrounding you. Now this is a third party kind of thing. So I don't know if those of you, I don't see any cards saying that there was any third party situations, but what I do see is that there was, I don't know, I feel like there's this platonic and this like friendly energy. I feel like there's something emotional that's going on, especially in the past. I can't put my finger on it, yo. I really feel like with the Hangman, it's almost like some sort of some sort of course correcting, some sort of balance is needed in regards to spending time with people or learning about your community. Like I said, I don't feel like this is a third party situation. I really feel like it's something in regards to connecting with people, though. How you connect with others. Let me go ahead and clarify this really fast. The Empress. So creating a community, okay? So externally, you could be, I know it sounds pretty crazy, right? Creating a community, but you could be using the support that you have to manifest. Maybe you needed to utilize some sort of, support from someone to create something. Maybe you're trying to balance some things out internally, so that way you can understand why, I guess, what you're looking for as far as support, so you can begin to manifest it. We're going to come back to this a little bit later, so that we can just kind of touch on everything else and see what else we could, how else this reading could play out. Because here we're moving on to strength, right? This is you, really. You're really pushing through. You're really, excuse me. Ooh, somebody's thinking about me. Now, with strength, you're pushing through. You're getting through the difficult portions of this phase of this cycle here, and it's difficult only because it's a lot of effort, a lot of concentrated and purposeful effort. Okay, and it requires bravery. I feel like perhaps in the past you may not have had, maybe you're feeling like you've been supporting other people, and so you needed someone to you honestly, maybe I don't know if you needed anybody to support you, but I feel like Libra, you do give a lot of your time. You do, this is your card here, so I feel like internally you guys were really being the judge and the jury potentially, but not necessarily judging people, but really just understanding and seeing where people were coming from, being some sort of support network. Externally, you had a support network yourself, so potentially maybe you needed that support network for yourself. Maybe you needed someone to take care, not to take care of you, but to show you a bit of support as well. And that's what leads you here, right? Maybe it's a bit of a difficult situation where you're having to kind of open up and things like that, because here you have in your internal energies the Queen of Pentacles. She's very private. She doesn't open up, not like that. She's very committed though. She's very hardworking, and I feel like the Queen of Pentacles, she doesn't need to talk about anything. She doesn't need to communicate about anything, because she got it. She has everything. She's very stable in herself. She makes sure that she's okay. She knows her worth. She knows her value. So she doesn't really communicate that with anybody, because she doesn't really communicate it because she's got it already. And I feel like that's why. I feel like that's what's going on here. I feel like you guys are working very hard. You guys are working very diligently, and it's like concentrated effort. Like you're really working hard and putting your effort towards something, but you may not be opening up at this time, because here you have the High Priestess. Now, the High Priestess does not speak at all. She's very private. She does not open up. She is very open to messages. She's great when it comes to receiving things, but when it comes to giving, she is the yin part of the yang dynamic. She's very yin. She receives information. She receives. So I feel like for a lot of you guys, there may have been a lot of doing potentially. That's probably why there was a time of stagnancy. Maybe there's something here that you're kind of holding back on, because it's a work in progress. And I feel like with strength, because this is, practically major arcana except for the Queen of Pentacles here. I feel like, there's just something that you're going through that's internal. It has a lot to do with your foundation and what you're working towards. And it's kind of hard to communicate how you feel, because, potentially maybe you don't even know how you feel right now. And that's you know, that's one of those hardships, right? That's one of those hard things. I mean, you could know how exactly how you feel. You could be feeling like a support, because the strength card here, it does indicate that you are doing this on your own. You are taming the lion. You are walking through the forest with a dangerous animal, risking your life to protect others by putting yourself in harm's way, by utilizing your inner strength to calm the beast, to get yourself out of that, to get the beast out of the situation so it doesn't harm anyone else. You're the person that's making sure that this situation is handled in the best way possible, and you don't really have a lot of support doing it. The Queen of Pentacles, she doesn't need the support. She's very good at not needing the support, but it doesn't mean that she doesn't necessarily, she doesn't, the Queen of Pentacles, she can do everything, but sometimes it's okay to gain help. She doesn't have to do everything on her own. That's why she does have a husband. That's why she has the King of Pentacles. That's why she's got the Knight of Pentacles. She's got, there are things that she can delegate. She doesn't have to do it single-handedly, but it's internal. Something's going on internally for you guys. Now, how the future plays out is very interesting, because you go from, going through a difficult time, really working diligently on something, reestablishing your worth, potentially knowing how much you're worth, working very hard, and potentially putting yourself in a situation where you receive more, like you are open to receiving more. You may not communicate what it is that you need, but you're open to receiving. You guys could also be really utilizing your intuition right now, because both the Strength card and the High Priestess, in my opinion, I feel like they use their intuition. They trust their heart. They trust that their ability to be able to handle situations, or to receive the strength necessary to get through a situation. So, and I feel like that whatever you're waiting on here, whatever is going on, whatever you receive from this energy, it potentially is the Page of Wands, right? The messages that you're getting. This is talking about anything, really, just any sort of news. I can't get too specific because this is a general reading, but there is some sort of information that could potentially be coming in that could change your situation internally, that could change you personally on a deep level, that could change you at the core. It could potentially literally knock you out off your feet. But it breaks down any sort of faulty foundation. So that's the beauty of the Tower. Even though it's kind of scary and it's very daunting, because you don't expect that to happen, but it does remove any sort of unstable platforms. But it also can provide you with the clarity that's necessary to be able to make the moves necessary to make a foundation that's more stable than you've ever had it. But it all comes from here. Okay? And you're manifesting something. You're really working on something. You're really building something. And it's requiring, it's not really, I think like it's requiring a lot out of you. It's requiring a lot of strength. It's requiring a lot of diligence. It's requiring a lot of endurance. And it's really like putting your needs, I feel like in a way, when I see strength, it's like she's putting her needs, after the beast. Like she's really focusing on her energy and controlling that. And I feel like you are trying to work very diligently, work very hard on on building yourself. Let me pull one card for the Queen of Pentacles. Get some more information. Wow, the Knight of Cups. So with the Knight of Cups coming up, that's interesting. So you have potentially a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, or you're even dealing with a Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Or a Leo as well. So yeah, I feel like you're working very hard on what it is that you want. That's what it looks like. Or maybe you feel very grounded, or you feel very committed to an individual you feel is very romantic, who you're in love with, that may have a different, an age difference, potentially one that's, it could be age difference, could be maturity level, someone that has a different maturity level. Wow, guys. But you're really working hard on something, and it's building your foundation internally. It's building, honestly, it's not like anything super physical, if that makes sense. You have external support, and I feel like you're trying to build, or you are becoming your internal support. And that's a hard one. All right, so you guys have pay attention to the red flags. The signs are cautioning you from the romance angels today, or for this week. Okay, that's very interesting. Pay attention to red flags. And this doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, especially when it comes to like a relationship. This could, when the pay attention to red flags come up, it could mean that you may want to see or may look out for situations in your relationship where there is support, that when there is care, or if there is someone trying to reach out to you, in case you feel like you're going through this solo, you're going through whatever you're going through solo. Paying attention to red flags doesn't mean just like, okay, yeah, be careful with this person, they have potential to do bad things. It's more, in my opinion, when I see that, pay attention to red flags, it's like pay attention to signs of somebody that cares, signs of someone that is willing to put in the balance necessary to make the relationship work, that's willing to work with you with this relationship, because you're not the only one that's committed here, I feel like. Because you have the Three of Cups in the past. There is somebody here that's willing to work with you, and I feel like with the Three of Cups, that's a group, that's a party in a way to be able to push something forward. Whether it is emotional, and I feel like this emotional connection that you guys have with this individual is something that was created to be a relationship, but it's hard to trust in a sense, because you have something you needed to surrender in the past, and it's hard to trust. And I feel like that trust is the thing that's kind of dragging you out. It's hard to trust because you trust yourself, but trusting externally, that's the hardship. That's the hard part.